Next program for and about Orlando area teenagers. We attempt to show what the Orlando teenagers are doing and are interested in. This program is written and produced by teenagers of the Orlando area. We sincerely hope that you will enjoy this show. Now we present this week's host and hostess.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Durham, and this is Wanda Miller. Wanda, would you tell us about our show today?
I'd love to, Mike. First of all, we have the 12th Night, a local band from Orlando. We also have from WLOF, we have Sir Arthur Knight, so that should be a pleasant surprise to several of the fans. And we also have Rita Arrett. So I think we have a very good show.
Yes, Wanda, I believe so. As most of you know, with the New Year's season coming on, we have a little message for you. Tis the season when most of you will go out and get crocked or stoned, or whatever you want to call it. Everything, but what happens when you have to go home? How will you get home? Drive? Are you sure you won't go out with a bang the first of the year? Of course, then you wouldn't have time to break any of the New Year's resolutions you have made, like not to drink and drive. Think about it now. You might not have time to later.
I think that's a very good message. And also, I would wonder what you would like to tell the audience about the traffic. Remember, just last week we had a lieutenant here telling us about the holiday weekend.
Well, the traffic is pretty bad.
To interview Sir Arthur Knight.
Today, Debbie and I are interviewing Arthur Knight, DJ on WLOF here in Orlando.
I'd first like to ask you when you started working at WLOF.
Well, about a little over a year ago, probably early fall of '65, when I first came to WLOF. Before that, I'd worked at other stations. I started in radio when I was a little after I got out of high school and continued every summer between college terms, and then got into it full-time after I finished college full-time.
How does a radio station get started, you know, when they first began?
Well, I suppose if you were just starting from scratch, what you'd have to do is apply for a license to the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, which is our broadcast governing body, and they would assign you a license and the frequency you would operate on, things like that. Then you'd have to start with your building and getting your sponsors and things like that, and hiring personnel.
Who do you try to appeal most to for your with your radio show?
Well, I would say that the station and the music and the way we present things are mostly being aimed at people, young adults, also people who want to stay young no matter how old they are, you see. There's a whole generation of people, myself included, that grew up with what we, I suppose, for want of a better word, call rock and roll music. In other words, starting out with the Bill Haley days in the 50s and Elvis Presley and on up through the Beatles. And so this is a nation of people. The people that are buying things are the people who are listening and turning on to this type of music, you see.
Well, what other music do you like besides what you play at the radio station?
Personally, I enjoy a great many types of music. When I was in high school, I played in the band. I still enjoy that type of music. Also, light classical, things like that. Folk music, I have a special affinity for.
I understand that you studied or you had some kind of training up at FSU.
Right. When I was about in the 9th or 10th grade, every year the school that I went to gave out one scholarship to go to Florida State to study music for the summer. And I was lucky enough to win that one that year. And so it's a great opportunity to learn about all different types of music up there.
I'd like to get back to the radio station itself.
Right.
Well, how does the station give away, how can they give away so much money and so many prizes? Are they donated to the station, or how are they getting?
Well, essentially, a great many of our prizes come from, we just buy them outright. In other words, if we want to buy 1,000 Channel 95 license plates to give away, there's a company that manufactures them, and we pay for them and undergo all the cost of giving them out, and postage and things like that. Some of the prizes, for example, drive-in theater passes, we give out a ton of those every week. Well, they are part of the working agreement we have with the drive-ins. They pay for so many commercials, for example, and also they give us like 1,000 drive-in theater passes too to give away.
What about the hours? Sometimes the hours of a disc jockey are pretty strenuous and long, aren't they? Would you comment on those?
Well, most of the shifts are set up with like 6 to 10 in the morning, 10 to 2, 2 to 6, 6 to midnight, and midnight to 6. It may sound like a long time to be on the air, 6 hours. Usually, the people that are on 6 hours are on at night, and there's not that much traffic going on at night as there is in the daytime, whereas I'm on just for 4 hours during, Monday through Friday and noon to 6 on Sunday. It's not really that long. It goes by quickly because you're doing things and talking constantly and answering telephones and playing contests, and it makes the time go by. However, aspiring disc jockeys, don't be led astray, that's not my only hours I work. In other words, I work from 10 to 2 on the air, and then in the afternoon I come back for several hours, 3 hours usually, and record commercials.
You're also going to school at night, too, aren't you, at Rollins?
Yes,
You
I
have
am.
other things, outside activities besides.
In my spare time, I do that.
And I understand you're you're an English major.
You're right. I went to Rollins 2 years full time, and I'm now going to the nights division 4 nights a week.
Well, what are some of the outside? I know that most of the disc jockeys make outside appearances. And
Right.
What are some of the ones you've made?
It so happens that when things come to town, such as the Paul Revere and the Raider show, because of the image that my particular station has built up conscientiously over the past few years, we seem to be the personalities they look to MC these shows. For example, we've appeared with the Raiders twice, and all of the other people at the first Orlando Shower of Stars, and the Beach Boys, and the Mamas and Papas, and it's interesting experience talking to the people that make the hits that we play on the radio.
You made some comment as to that they were real easy to talk to, some of these more successful bands and people.
Being in a position where I do constantly meet people like this all the time, I would say that the more successful the people are, the more congenial and nice they are, with a couple of exceptions, which I better not say here.
We're getting
Okay.
getting to teenagers. What do you think about the new fashions that the teenagers are wearing?
Well, I personally, I don't look particularly good in mod fashions, but I think, well, Dick over there would, for example, and a lot of the people I work with do, and I think it's great, each to his own. I don't, I dress a little more conservatively because that's just what I've always dressed in. And when I was going to high school, for example, long hair was not a big deal. I mean, some people had long hair, some people had short hair, but whatever way you want to wear your hair, it's great, as long as it doesn't interfere with, you know,
Do you
what you're
feel
doing.
that these fashions, this trend of mod and everything and so forth is going to last? Or do you think it's going to continue, or do you think it'll, pretty soon it'll just stop altogether?
Well, I would say that probably it won't last, I don't think, for a great long time.
You know, we were talking earlier about this thing going on with WLOF and Who, and I know that you can't say anything about it, but we were talking and you said some of the things that have been happening. Would you like to say some of those?
Well, I was just talking earlier to you about the amount of response that's getting out of this without, I would advise all of the people that are watching today that they can find out exactly what's happening by listening to their radios tomorrow, particularly to Channel 95. And, but we do have, when I'm on the air, I try to answer as many phone calls as I can, the people that call in directly to talk to me. And out of the thousands of them, I suppose, that I've answered in the last couple of weeks, only one person has hit it exactly on the nose, exactly what is going on in Orlando at this present time. And we feel that this is a very interesting thing, and we want to, it's going to work out that everybody's going to be very much surprised, I think.
But I can also ask you if it, about, no one will really be disappointed, will they?
I should think that depending on what sort of a person you are and what sort of outlooks you have, I don't think you'll be disappointed, no.
Well, we do want to thank you for coming down. We appreciate it, and I'm quite anxious to find out what's going to come off, what the big secret's all about. I hope I'm not disappointed, but I don't think I will be.
Well, I work tomorrow from noon to 6, and I dread it, the telephones and the response we're going to get. But anyway, it was a pleasure being here, and thank you very
Nice to
much for
have
inviting me
Thank you
down.
for coming.
Now I believe we have a commercial.